Now, the Young Thug and Gunna update. Like you already know at this point, both Young Thug and Gunna are currently behind bars on RICO charges. They got arrested back in May and have been behind bars ever since. There's been a lot of updates that have came in ever since I made my initial video on it. So, in this video, we're gonna go over those updates. With that being said, drop a like on this video for your boy. Let's talk about it. Now, Young Thug and Gunna, like everyone knows at this point, Thug, Gunna, and 26 other YSL members are currently behind bars on RICO charges. Thugger got picked up and taken into custody by the authorities on the 9th of May. He was booked into the Fulton County Jail. Gunna surrendered himself to the authorities a day later and was eventually taken into custody as well. This 88-page indictment that Young Thug, Gunna, and YSL were hit with claimed a couple things. The whole indictment was based on claims that YSL was a criminal organization that was responsible for a bunch of murders, armed robberies, and other illicit activities. I want to go over some of the important updates that have came in ever since I made my initial video on it. So with that being said, let's get into it. Around a day after Young Thug got arrested, the police raided Young Thug's home in Atlanta and he ended up getting hit with 7 additional felony charges. The charges consisted of possession of marijuana with the intent to distribute. He also got hit with multiple firearm charges and 3 different counts of being a person employed or associated with a criminal street gang to conduct or participate in criminal gang activity through the commission of a crime. Now these charges were on top of the RICO indictment Thug was already facing. Around the same time, Thug and Gunna's legal team requested bond, but both requests ended up getting denied by the judge. Thug's request got denied on the basis of him being a potential danger to the community and witnesses. The prosecutors in this case also stated that Thug is the top dog, the most dangerous man in this indictment because, and I quote, he doesn't have to get his hands dirty, he has others to do his business. Gunna's bond got denied on the basis of him being a key member in the criminal organization that is YSL. What the prosecutors specifically said was that Gunna is a documented gang member and that him and Young Thug directed their troops to commit violent acts. The judge also stated that the biggest concern he had was witness tampering, and that's why the bond got denied.
There has been significant proffers about Mr. Williams as being a danger to the community. In particular, the state's proffer that they have taken proffers from other gang members and people who are in this particular indictment and they're not in this indictment, that he is the leader of the gang, he is dangerous, and if he crosses them, he'll kill them or their families. And for those reasons in the aggregate, I'm going to deny bond at this time.
Right after Thug's bond request got denied, Young Thug's lawyer filed an emergency motion saying that he's being held in inhumane jail conditions behind bars. Thug's lawyer stated that he's been living in total isolation. He also stated that he was being held in a space with no windows and an overhead light that was on for 24 hours a day and that Thug could barely get any sleep as a result of this. His lawyer also stated that he had no access to any type of media, no opportunity to exercise, shower, and had 0 human contact. This motion ended up getting denied, so this was the second time the judge refused to grant Thug bond. So at this point, it just wasn't looking good for Thug or Gunna, but mostly Thug since he's being painted as the alleged kingpin and leader. Now this is when we get to some of the alleged snitching that's been going on in this YSL case. During a hearing that took place on June 2nd, according to the prosecution in this case, they revealed that they received statements from YSL members. The prosecution explicitly stated that they took proffers from YSL members. Just a quick explanation as to what a proffer is. A proffer is described as a prelude to cooperation. So if someone is, hypothetically speaking, under investigation or has been charged with a crime, they can agree to a proffer session, which is essentially a meeting between that individual and law enforcement. So you already know what that means. A little bit of singing, the Weeknd style, might just be around the corner.
Judge, I will also say that we have taken proffers from fellow gang members from Mr. Williams. Some are on this indictment, some are not. They have stated uniformly that Mr. Williams is dangerous. They are afraid of him, that if they cross him, he will kill them and their family. And they were very clear about that.
So you heard what the prosecution said. They've allegedly taken proffers from YSL members, which is very bad news for Young Thug because that means that the gang might not be so loyal after all. Surprise, surprise, actually not. I think anyone was predicting this was going to happen. Out of all the almost 30 members who got arrested, ain't no way at least a couple won't be cooperating with the state. Something else the prosecution also said was the fact that the YSL members who gave these proffers allegedly stated that they're afraid of Young Thug, so much to the point that if they end up crossing him, he'll kill them and their family. Now, just to reiterate this point, we're talking Young Thug's own guys allegedly saying this. And by the way, a big part of why Thug got denied bond was because of these arguments the prosecution laid out, so the judge obviously heard all this and thought, if Thug's own guys are saying that they fear that he'll kill them if he gets crossed, would it be so smart to grant this bond? Now, aside from this, moving on to another update, and this one is kind of funny, but then again, not so funny. So after the arrest of Young Thug, Gunna, and YSL, an Atlanta teen who is a Young Thug fan decided to do something pretty dumb. The teen, who's 18 years old, threatened to kill a local sheriff and the sheriff's wife if they didn't release YSL. I know, it sounds crazy, but this is something that actually happened. It even led to the teen getting arrested, and I'm not surprised that happened. The kid literally threatened a sheriff and his family if they didn't free YSL. By the way, he made these threats on Instagram and his other social medias.
The racketeering case against Young Thug and more than 24 others, resulting in death threats on social media against Sheriff Labatt, his wife, and others in law enforcement. One of the posts on the sheriff's Instagram account, for example, "I'ma assassinate the sheriff and his wife if they don't free Thug." The sheriff says the posts were traced to 18-year-old Quartavius Mender of DeKalb County, who is now charged with 23 counts of making terroristic threats. And the sheriff says the threats keep coming.
And to date, we are continuing to receive threats. Have as many as 4 or 5 more today that are all social media based. We think it's gang related and at least fan base related. So if there are any copycats out there, this has crossed the line and we're going to focus on apprehension of those individuals.
So the kid is facing 23 counts of terroristic threats. Keep in mind, we're talking about someone who clearly is a Young Thug stan, literally ruining their life for nothing. I don't know why he thought threatening a sheriff and his family was a smart idea. This right here just goes to show that trolling does have consequences. So the teen's family actually did an interview with a news station stating that he doesn't know Young Thug or isn't really affiliated with him in any kind of way. That's obviously something the local police department doesn't care about. All they know is that this teen threatened to assassinate law enforcement if they didn't free Thug. Now, the last update I want to go through is actually regarding Gunna. So about 2 weeks ago, Gunna dropped a very lengthy statement on his Instagram where he spoke about a couple things, mainly about his situation behind bars, what he wants for his future as he continues to fight these charges. He also doubled down on his innocence and said that he's been falsely accused. Gunna's involvement in this RICO case is interesting because he's not the alleged head honcho, Young Thug is, but then again, he's not completely innocent according to the prosecution. As a matter of fact, like we spoke about a little bit earlier, it's been stated by prosecutors that Gunna, along with Young Thug, allegedly gave direct orders to his crew to commit illegal acts. What I'm wondering is, what was really the extent of Gunna's involvement, and can Gunna get out of this somewhat scot-free? For Young Thug, personally, I don't think that's a possibility unless all the allegations he's facing are baseless. What's the likelihood that's the case though, especially considering the fact that, according to the prosecution, the crimes in this RICO indictment were first committed starting in 2013, so they've obviously been investigating Thug and YSL this whole time. The trial for this RICO case won't begin until January 9, 2023, so Young Thug and Gunna, it's looking like we'll be behind bars until then. Even after it starts, ain't no telling how this is gonna go. The state has a whole lot of alleged evidence against them. How is Thug and Gunna's defense gonna counter it? On top of that, since there's a little bit of alleged snitching going on, according to the prosecution, if that really ends up being 100% true, how is that gonna affect their fate? I guess we'll see what happens. But yeah, the Young Thug and Gunna update. There you have it. Any thoughts on this RICO case Thug and Gunna are up against? They've both been locked up since May. Now that a little bit of time has passed, how do you see this case and arrest? Do you think Thug and Gunna have a chance at freedom anytime soon? Curious to hear what you have to say, so yeah, definitely let me know in the comment section below. Like this video, like this video, like this video. What's up, about this?